Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101. Very excited to have WGN TV's Brónagh Tumulty on the show, who broke the story with Country Club Hills School District 160, the corruption, as we followed the Ben Bradley vehicle on WGN TV with Tiffany Henyard for 2 years, had Ben on several times, and the investigative reporting team, obviously over there, is top-notch as they break these stories. Before we bring her on, I want to play the audio of her story that was the second part of her series this week. After the board meeting Tuesday night, had the police called, and what happened and what ensued. So here's that audio of that report.
WGN's Brónagh Tumulty has been following the spending issues in the district and joins us now from Southwood Middle School with the latest. Brónagh.
Good evening, guys. We could talk all night about the sheer number of issues we've heard about this evening, but overall, a very, very tense meeting indeed. One of the parents and a school board member's daughter getting into a verbal altercation at one point, prompting the arrival of police. Nadas did agree with us that the credit card expenses we put in front of her are colossal. She says the blame, though, lies with whoever is booking the travel for the board. She did mention tonight in the meeting that not all board members need to go on all of the trips. She is going on a trip this month on school district business. She says that one could not be cancelled, and the next one is not until December and is local. Now, the board has been in closed session since about 8 this evening. It's not clear when that will reopen to the public, but the regularly scheduled board meeting is next week, so we'll probably be back here again on Tuesday.
Now, before again we bring Brónagh on, I want to play the end of her last story, the first story that led in before the board meeting, where she gets a door slammed in her face like Ben Bradley trying to get the information. Boy, do they get the story no matter what. And this is the end of that story because the door crashing sounds like a sound effect. It doesn't sound real.
With us?
I already told you no comment.
Okay, but we are trying to get interviews with you to get your side of the story because there's expense reports.
No comment.
There's almost $9,000
No
in
comment.
charges
No
at the
comment.
Bellagio.
No comment.
No comment. Okay, Mr. Main, have you ever stayed at the Bellagio? Do you know there's $20,000, more than $20,000 in hotel charges for December of 2024 alone?
Get him, Brónagh. Get him.
I don't even know what that sound was. There was no door because he just walked away from me. He wouldn't speak with me, so I don't know what the sound was actually came from.
It sounded like a sound effect was added in there and a door slammed into your face.
I promise you, there was no sound effects added. I don't know what the noise was, but yeah, they wouldn't speak with us, obviously.
Well, we're really happy to have you on. We never had on the show before, so Brónagh Tumulty from WGN TV breaking this story as we talked about it. Now, I wanted to intro you coming in with shipping up to Boston from the Dropkick Murphys, and Kenzie and Kay said don't do that, but I think this would be perfect entrance music for you, and I don't hear it on WGN TV. I'm a little upset about that. What do you say to this? Is it offensive if I play this? Is it not right?
No, you know what? There's very little that the Irish will get offended by, but I don't normally get any radio time unless it's the 17th of March, so I'm pretty used to hearing shipping up the box.
All right, so it is cliche. My bad. Okay, we'll turn it off.
You're fine.
All right, so we get to this story. When did this story first become aware to you that this was going on in Country Club Hills at School District 160? What led you there to get this story?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of stumbled upon the story, if I'm being perfectly honest, because we were sent down to Country Club Hills in May for their board meeting. It was back on the 20th of May. And we were sent down there for nothing to do with finances. It was because there was allegations of I think it was a substitute teacher that had, allegedly been too rough with one of the students or something. So we were down there to speak to the parent of that student. And then when we got down there, the other parents were like, this is the tip of the iceberg. And they had actually got the ball rolling on this. So, props to them because they had filed their own FOIAs dating back to, 2021, I think is what they showed me at the time. So I'm, flipping through what they had. And I'm thinking there's a lot more to look at here. So I said to them at the time, I can't do anything with this tonight because I need a bigger picture. I need to go back and file a more comprehensive FOIA. So they were happy enough with that. And we went into the meeting. And then in that meeting, it emerged, I don't know, if viewers have watched the stories on WGN, they'll know about the Ford F-150 truck. So everything kind of came to light in that meeting about the truck. And there was, I'm getting thrown into this. There's information flying back and forth. And at one point, I leaned over to one of the parents, and am I hearing this correctly, that this board member is being accused of buying a school district truck for $500, and the school consultant is saying the truck is worth $8,000 or $9,000? And they were like, yeah, that's exactly what's happening. I'm like, okay, great. So
Lord.
after that, I'm like, you know what? There's more. There's a lot more going on here that I need to file this FOIA for. So that's kind of how it all kind of came to light. And I went back and filed the FOIAs, and it took a while. It took a while to get those back. And then, I'm a general assignment reporter, so I'm trying to work through those files while putting other stories on television. So it took me a little time to get through them all. There's probably like 400 or 500 pages of credit card statements to work through. And some of the numbers, were so wild that I had to go back and double check everything, obviously, and calculate everything. I was carrying around a massive, carrying under my arm calculator for weeks. I think WGN rescued it from 1970 because it was one of those things you could plug into the wall. I didn't know you could plug in calculators. But, so yeah, I was going around with that for weeks, topping everything up, and we finally got to be in a position where we could put some of it on television.
It's unbelievable.
Wow. That is unbelievable. And because it is so much work, thank God for people like you, because it is so much work, that's probably why a lot of people think they'll get away with stuff like this. Because think about how much effort it takes to truly prove it, Yeah,
it's a lot of work, the story ended up being about 6 minutes long, I think, but there was weeks of digging and trying to get information and topping up those numbers that went into those 6 minutes. And I think, there's just not a lot of people watching sometimes. And, again, the parents really got the ball rolling here, because if it wasn't for them, I could have come down and done the original story and not known about the extent of the finances that needed to be looked at without them. So they really started everything.
We were fascinated by the things you listed off of the $250,000 expenses, the Bellagio in Vegas. Yeah. And I know you couldn't get a comment out of anybody, but when you looked at all those receipts, what'd they do at the Bellagio in Vegas? Was the minibar raided? How did they rack up all that? And why did they go to the Bellagio in Vegas to learn about how to run a school?
It's very hard to know, because when you get those credit card statements back, it doesn't detail what exactly the money was spent on or how exactly it was spent. So you need to kind of delve even further into it then and request specific expense reports for that trip. So all it kind of said on the statements that I had was Bellagio, listed multiple times. And I'm thinking, I can't afford to stay at the Bellagio. Who's staying at the Bellagio? So
right.
That's kind of how that transpired. But, a lot of the charges on there, I'm sure there's legitimate explanations for, school boards do.
We're disagreeing with that. We're disagreeing with that, Bron, on that one.
There are conferences and trips and things that they do go on, and that's fine, but we just haven't been able to get to a point where we can get the charges explained.
We also found it interesting about the restaurants you listed. They went to steakhouses in D.C. and Atlanta and possibly took limos to Midway, but then Cooper's Hawk got a nice plug in your story from Orland Park.
And Orland Park was the address to the one they always went to, basically.
Well, the restaurants were one thing, because we kept seeing these high-end meals, worth, over $1,000 or $2,000 popping up on the credit card statements. But the limo thing was disputed, because we finally got an interview on Tuesday night that we didn't get to air a whole lot of, because we were in a bit of a crunch for time, with Jacqueline Doss, who wanted to kind of explain, about the Ford F-150 truck, and I really appreciated her speaking with us. We still have a lot of questions about the truck. But with regard to the limos, she had said, nobody has taken a limo, limousine to or from an airport. But we did ask her, it's a limo service. It doesn't necessarily refer to a limo in itself. It could be like a chauffeured service. And she had told us on Tuesday that that had started before she came back to the board. So we're still trying to get some more questions answered there regarding the chauffeured services.
Right, she got dropped off in a Range Rover, and she's like, wait, I didn't get a limo.
We're talking with Brónagh Tumulty from WGN TV. It's about the Country Club Hills School District 160 story that she broke this week of the, alleged allegations on corruption and money spent, just like the Tiffany Henyard story we covered for a couple years here. What was the atmosphere like in the room at the school board meeting Tuesday when the cops had to come in and break it up?
It was a little tense. The argument, there was bickering going on between board members over different things, but then there was one of the parents and one of the board members' daughters They kind of got into it a little bit, and I believe the parent actually involved was the one who called the police, but things got very heated, and the police did arrive, and they escorted several people out of the room. So yeah, it was it was definitely a moment where I had to kind of move out of the way because I was in the thick of the action in between. I was like, you know what, I didn't sign up for this. So it was a little heated, and I think tensions are just running high, because I think the kids really are at the centre of it, and per that website that we quoted in the story, this is a district where the vast majority of the kids are considered to be from low-income families, and I think people are kind of they're worried about where the money is going and what it's being spent on.
I don't know. 7 charges at Bellagio seems totally normal for a school conference. Nothing fishy.
10 grand for a marker for the blackjack table. Sure. Why not? So now we know that Dwayne Megan's been suspended, the school district 60 superintendent, and it's expected to run for 10 days without pay. Is that still accurate information? Has there been anything else happened since that was, I think, Wednesday?
That was Tuesday night. So when we were down there, last Tuesday was a special board meeting, and he was suspended. So they had the board meeting, and then they went into closed session, and then they came back into public forum after that, and it was announced then. It was decided in the closed session that he was going to be suspended for 10 days without pay, and I believe that's running the very end of the month, last 10 days of the month. So that is the latest, and then their regularly scheduled board meeting is this coming Tuesday. So I'm not quite sure what will come out of that, but we do hope to be there as well.
Sounds like a UFC 360 there at the board meeting out there.
Maybe wear like a face guard or something.
Yeah.
Hey,
Oh, Lord.
We'd love to talk to you again and keep updating if you're all cool with that on how this story plays out and where it goes next week and all that.
Sounds good. The only problem I have is I'm going on vacation. I don't think I've ever looked forward less to a vacation in my life because I'm kind of invested in this now. But I'll be back for the August meeting as well.
Oh, no, the school board's not paying you off, are they?
Sounds suspicious.
Like, I'm going to the Bellagio, actually.
I certainly am not going to the Bellagio. I can tell you that much.
Well, are you possibly going to Manchester to see Oasis? Is that where you might be going?
I am going to see Oasis, but I'm not going to Manchester. I'm going to be in London.
Oh, Case. So Case works on the show, and he's got an extra ticket now to the Soldier Field Oasis show, and he wanted me to ask for him if you wanted to go with him to that show.
I let him know how the London one goes first. I think twice in 1 month might be overkill.
Oh,
message received. Got it.
We're all looking forward to that show here at Q101. Thank you so much, Brónagh, for checking in. It's great talking to you. And we do want to keep your investigative skills on this story so we can pass on to our listeners of what's going on in their area, because it's another story like Tiffany Henyard where this blatant, alleged corruption happens and they think they're going to get away with it, and they're not with you on the case.
Well, we'll see. Thanks, lads. I appreciate you having me on.
Okay, thank you, Brónagh.
I like being called a lad. I don't know why, but I like it.
First time for you, Kenzie?
Thanks, lads. I'm like, okay, you're welcome.
All right, Case, was that okay how I asked for you there? I was trying to help you out.
You made it sound like a date.
Yeah, that's what that was
of course she's going to say no. She doesn't even know who's asking her out.
That was my intention, is just put her on the spot.
It really was. My friend over here thinks you're cute. It was that sort of energy to it.
Wait, we talked about this for a second, but you never said we were trying to ask her on a date.
Well, I got a little more motivation as the interview went on. She's really nice. She's
but
really
it's
sweet.
not a date for you. Case, how did you feel about that?
Oh, well, the answer was all I need to know. I don't want to see them twice in a month. I'm only flying across the world to go see them, but twice would be too many times.
Oasis hasn't played in 16 years. Twice would be good. Twice would be good. Huh?
You guys, you can't. Now she's never going to come back on. She's going to think you're going to keep asking her out.
So, there's a deal on, it's a 5-cent wing night.
Yeah.
My boy Case
you
has
cannot, she's not going to come on the show if you keep asking her out.
Okay, Brónagh, if you're still listening, Case will not ask you out through me again. I will not ask you out for Case.
I can't believe that. She's flying to London to go see a band. She's like, well, I don't want to see him twice in a month. That'd be insane.
Well, in fairness, she's obviously Irish, okay? So I'm sure she has friends and family in London. She's like meeting people she cares about there.
Yeah. Meet some people in Chicago, too.
Be nice. Yeah. One right here with an extra ticket.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning, and Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.